But I forgot that I had to go over this huge gap jump. And I was like, everyone else is here in factory cars, like full specs built, and I am in this beater. I didn't have enough power to get over the gap. It was over like 72 mile an hour, optimum speed. I was like, this thing won't go 72 mile an hour. These guys are like coming out of the corner before, racing, like if you know motorsport, you know, racing line is faster around the corner, getting to the apex and bam, over the jump. And there's me going like around, basically around the NASCAR side, trying to get a run up so I can come downhill to go, and then just hit it as fast as I possibly could.
Welcome to Set and Bent number 41. We're here today with Liam Doran, and he is a professional driver coming from the world of rally, and now he's touring the world with a twin Hayabusa engined Mini Cooper, and he was doing wheelie drift donuts today at SEMA.
I would have introduced him as the man who does donut wheelies to start off with, because that's far more unique and impressive than rally. But they're both awesome.
I actually used to have a name, and it was Liam Doran. Now I'm just the wheelie drift guy. Yeah. I actually think I should start wearing a cape, because I feel like everyone calls me. I've got this superhero name now or something crazy. I'm like, I used to be called Liam. Now I'm just the guy that does the wheelie drift, which is cool. But
you could use that for merch. You know, use the wheelie drift thing. You know, lean into that for sure.
I hadn't even thought about it, but yes.
So just right off the bat, do you want to talk about your career and how you became the wheelie drift guy? Just for our people who might not know who you are.
Wow, where would I start? How did it happen? So, bit of background on me. I have raced professionally since 2000. Actually, let's go right back. I started racing cars when I was 14 years old.
It's a good time to start.
Yeah, it's young enough. Yeah. I started learning to drive a car when I was like 8 or 9, but I started racing cars when I was 14. I was very lucky that my dad was a professional racing driver, so I had the lead into it, because when someone, you know, when your parents do something, it's a lot easier to get into it, to follow on. So I was like second generation racing driver. So yeah, very lucky to have had that opportunity at the start. I raced for a few years and sucked really, really badly. I guess probably not even a few, like more than a few, like for a while. And then I got a break, and I got sponsored, and then sort of went professional. That was back in 2011. My first year would have been 2011. So basically then I raced all around the world, competing in rallycross, World Rallycross, Nitro Cross, X Games for that time. And did it all the way through until my last competitive year was in 2021. So I did 10 years of it. So professional rallycross driver, professional driver, whatever we might say. That's what I did. And now I'm trying to make videos.
Cool. Nice. What was that? Was it like Rallycross to Nitro Cross? Or were you doing the same at the same time? Because Nitro Cross is like a really unique, awesome thing that maybe you could break down for us a little bit. So that's probably, go right back. So my dad was a rallycross driver. So there is really no other option for me to do anything else. I've never ever raced anything else properly. Like I didn't do go-karting, or I went straight into a rallycross car. So for anyone who doesn't know what rallycross is, which I'm sorry, I probably need to explain a bit more. Rallycross is a sport which has short, like instantaneous burst style races. They're like 4 laps long, very fast, very short. From standing start, so there's launch control, that sort of stuff. Multiple cars on the track at once. But the main thing about it is it goes from asphalt onto dirt and back again. So you have a transition of surfaces. So it's not like a dirt sport or a street circuit sport. It's in an enclosed circuit, but it has both surfaces. So it's very unique. And so I started in that, and I never raced anything else. I did that forever. Nitro Cross. So sorry, I need to probably elaborate on all these things more. Otherwise, we're going to take 10 minutes and we'll be out. We have a whole hour. We're good.
I normally don't struggle with talking. So, rallycross is that. It's a sport which is short races, transition between the two surfaces. I started at national level. So there was like, of course, grassroots levels. I started at national level, went up to the British Championship, which was like
obviously I'm from, sorry, I should have said that. I'm from the UK. I'm not American.
I don't think anyone would have guessed.
No, really? Is it not obvious? So I'm from the UK, so obviously that's where I started. And I raced the national series for a while and then went to European level. So that was called European Rallycross Championship. And then eventually sort of got promoted to the World Rallycross Championship, which went all around the world. So that's Rallycross as a sport. It's a global sport. And then Nitro Cross was born later on. So I guess going back to I would say Nitro Cross came about because of X Games. So X Games is for anyone who doesn't know what X Games is a competition that's held normally annually, that's action sports based, freestyle motocross, skateboarding, BMX, all those really cool sports basically. Those guys, which was very, very good for me, at one point decided, hey, let's add cars to the equation. So they don't do it now, but for a period of time, they ran rally and rallycross at X Games. And so that took rallycross to a different level because it put it in front of a whole new audience with a lot more eyes.
And I'm sure the association with Travis Pastrana.
Absolutely. Travis raced it. Right. So Travis basically does every action sport in the world, doesn't he? So they went, hey, let's do rallycross. Travis said, well, I'll drive a car. Well, yeah, let's do it. Right. So he did. And that really took the sport to another level, which was great for me because I was actually very competitive at the top of the sport. And then just got a really lucky break that the sport blew up. Right. So I was like, I was in a sport, but it was limited on its audience. And then ESPN took it to X Games and put it on like the big screen almost. And I just happened to be one of the drivers. It was one of the best drivers. Definitely never going to say I was the best, but I was one of the better drivers. And I won the very first time it ever went to X Games. I won the event, beating Travis, Ken Block, Brian Deegan, Tanner Faust, like some huge action sport names. Awesome. And I was a no one. I'm still a no one, but I was, like, to me, like, these guys were my heroes. And I just got put in the spotlight and went, well, go race them then. And then I beat them. And I was like, I don't know, do I feel bad now? Like, so that was really good. Anyway, so to get to the point I'm trying to make is Nitro Cross, I feel, came off of the back of X Games because X Games took Rallycross and made their own sort of take on it. It was a bit different. The one I won in 2011 was in downtown LA, and we raced around the streets of LA, around like the sky rises, the high towers and stuff. So that was very different to what I was used to because I was, it was normally on a full course. So then Nitro Cross basically, I think, took the opportunity to build something that was then a little bit different again. It was more dirt than we were used to, but what they added into it was jumps. That's the main thing. So Rallycross had jumps. X Games had jumps. The big thing about X Games, which was awesome, and I still miss doing it, we always did gap jumps, so transfer jumps where we take off to landing with the track would go through the gap. And that's really what made it cool. That I guess X Games had to give it another twist to make the sport cool enough to put it in an action sports sort of platform. So it took it from like a motorsport to an action sport, I think. Nitro Cross then went next level. They went, well, we don't want one jump, we want 10. And so, and that's where I think Nitro Cross got really big because they built, again, a gap jump, but like 75-foot gap jump, 40 foot up in the air. Like, so it was a instant hit on the media side because just the first picture of the first guy going over the jump was massive.
Right.
So that's what Nitro Cross was. That's Travis's brainchild. He started Nitro Cross. And so I transitioned all the way through Rallycross from the British Championship to the European Championship to the World Championship, X Games, and then eventually into Nitro Cross, which for me, Nitro Cross was the pinnacle in terms of what I wanted to do because I'm pretty crazy. As you might have seen if you see a car doing wheelies. Stupid, crazy, I don't know which one I want to use, but yeah, both.
I always say a bit of both.
A bit of both, absolutely, yeah. So Nitro Cross was like, for me, my favourite because it was crazier than normal conventional rallycross. And that's sort of where I came from. That's what I did, and that's why I'm stupid in the car.
What was that transition like? Because obviously the jumps in Nitro Cross are so insane. Did you have to like lap practice, learn how to jump a car? Or since you'd been jumping cars since you were 14, were you just like, it ain't no thing?
Well, I remember the very first time I went to, it was actually, I forgot one other sport, Global Rallycross. So there was a Global Rallycross, which was here in America. And I ran that for 2 years, 2012 and 2013. I ran Global Rallycross as well as European Rallycross at the time. The very first time I went to that event, luckily I was young and stupid. I don't think if I hadn't done it before, I wouldn't go do it now. I'd probably be a little bit too scared because the younger you are, the more stupid you are normally.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was this young, stupid kid from England, went to America to race my heroes, and they went, oh yeah, done one of these jumps before? I was like, no, but I'll jump it. And I did. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know if I'd do it again now, looking back. But yeah, it was in like an old Subaru as well. I think but it's a really funny story, actually. I wanted to go to X Games. I was good at Rallycross. This big promotional company had taken what I felt like the sport that I was based around and put it on in America. And I was like, I got to be part of this. I have to be part of this. I want to be part of it. I'd gotten sponsored by Monster that year. So I was just into my, sort of sponsorship contract with them. They were the ones that got me the opportunity to go because, X Games was an invite only competition and I was a no one. All right, I just got on a good sponsor and that was really that was the ticket I got. That was my golden ticket because they gave me an entry because I got sponsored by Monster. But they said, well, you still got to qualify. You kind of show up. There's a qualification process. I was like, well, I'm busy. I'm racing the European Championship. Like my car's in Europe. Like I can make the one race, but I can't do the qualifications. And they were like, well, you have to. I was like, okay, I will. So I hired like a pretty beat up Subaru. It was qualified. It was legal. Like it passed tech, but it definitely wasn't a rallycross car. It was a rally car at best. It was pretty. Hopefully, the guy that I hired off isn't watching this, but it wasn't amazing, and it was very underpowered. And I remember that I had to have a bigger run up than everyone else because I couldn't get the speed to go over the jump. And I had to go wide on the corner so this is my story to my first gap jump. I went there, I hired a pretty bad car because I was only just trying to all I had to do was turn up. I didn't have to get a result to qualify. I just had to turn up. So I was like, well, to save money, I'm just going to get the cheapest car I can and just going to show up, literally. I knew I was going to come last, but I forgot that I had to go over this huge gap jump. And I was like, everyone else is here in factory cars, like full spec built, and I am in this beater. That I don't know if will it land? Will it not? And then, so obviously I hadn't thought about it, but yeah, like I didn't have enough power to get over the gap. They were like 72 mile an hour, optimum speed. I was like, this thing won't go 72 mile an hour. So it's actually pretty funny because I had to go the long way around the track and go out to get more space. So every lap to go over the jump, I had to get a run up. These guys are like coming out of the corner before, racing, like if you know motorsport, racing line is faster around the corner, getting to the apex and bam, over the jump. And there's me going like basically around the NASCAR side, trying to get a run up so I can come downhill to go, and then just hit it as fast as I possibly could. But I got over it. Here I am. I lived to tell the tale. I got over the gap, obviously. But it was, and obviously at this time I hadn't raced X Games. It was my dream. My dream was to go race X Games. And obviously that's why I took the risk and did this, so I could. And that story turned into I went and won that event. That very first X Games I did, I won it. And I was just like, how has this even happened?
I bet the people that were also at that qualification and saw this kid that at the time no one knew go loop around in the cheapest car there, and then you beat them all. That must have been surreal.
No one took me seriously. Can you imagine? In that race, actually, I was racing with Robbie Madison as well. He's a freestyle rider. Yeah. So Robbie Madison, Brian Deegan, Ken Block, Tanner Faust, Travis Pastrana, they were all at this event. And who am I? Like, what am I doing here? And obviously, they probably thought what everyone else thought. Like, who is this guy?
Yeah. And
who does
how
he
old
think
were you?
he is?
Right, like who's this kid that showed up in a beat up Subaru? What is he doing here? Like, is this his mom's car?
Is he with you? Who's this guy with? When was that? That was 2011. So I don't know, how old am I now? I don't know. So do some maths quick. I would have been 25.
Okay.
Yes. I'm 37 now. So that would have been, 24. So I wasn't a kid.
Right.
But I was young enough to be stupid still.
Right.
And I was a lot younger than most of all those guys are a bit older than me now. So I was younger. Like Ken was always 20 years older than me. So yeah, I was Dean was this kid from England who's got his beat at Subaru, and was he, is he actually is this serious or like I guess I might have had I think actually the really funny bit of it is I didn't even have the Monster contract for very long. So I didn't even have a suit or anything yet. So I was like in an all black suit. They would have literally, I was some like no one privateer rocked up in this. He obviously bought a Monster out of eBay and here he is.
Yeah, at that time,
That's
if
awesome.
you had any kind of like energy drink hat though that looked cool, you were sponsored.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because I remember like early on in my like filming career, I guess you could say, I filmed a project for Red Bull breakdancing.
Yeah.
And I remember like I always wanted a Red Bull hat because all the rally drivers had it, and the pilots and the snowboarders. And I always thought it was the coolest thing. And like, you just couldn't buy one. Even on eBay, like they looked silly. Like the copies weren't even good.
But there was no way it was going to pass as a legit one.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess I had a legit one, but they must have thought I got lucky.
Yeah.
So that was that. So that was the first time I did the jump. So in answer to your original question, can you go practice? I didn't. No. I just said that I'm sure it'll be fine. Just let's send it.
Yeah.
So that's what we
So
did.
you learned to jump like that by just entering the races and being a part of a race, and that's
I mean, so that jump actually is less complicated because it's actually just a straight transfer jump. Target speed is all you need. So you know a target speed. You get given a target speed by the science of the jump builder. Okay. And so you know that as long as you hit that target speed and you point it in the right direction, you're going to go over the jump. That one doesn't take that much practice. The ones that take more practice are the ones in Nitro Cross that are actually around the track that aren't gaps, because they're the ones you've got to basically rhythm. Because we're in cars with like 12 inches of suspension travel, racing around tracks that are designed for dirt bikes with 20 inches of suspension travel or whatever they might have. Mm-hmm. So you have to be careful not to mess it up, like come up short or go too far.
Overshoot it,
So those ones took a little bit more sort of time to get used to, because I remember in 2021, we raced at a track called ERX over in Minnesota, and it was legit like the craziest track I've ever driven in my life. It was like wild to drive a car around it because I felt like I was a supercross rider in a car, because we were in the air more than we were on the ground, it felt like. And I found myself rhythming sections, like you could choose whether you wanted to clear the gap or come up, and it was pretty crazy to be in a four-wheel vehicle.
Right.
Like, and some of the jumps, like you'd have to flick it before you take off and then land sideways because that was the fastest way around the track. So then find yourself like turning the car on the takeoff to deliberately fly sideways. So you landed sideways to get round the next corner. It's a pretty interesting experience. So, but it's wild. It's cool.
That sounds like an understatement.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I ask about it because I've never jumped a car.
But
I think most people haven't.
Well, then we should.
What do you mean you never jumped a car?
I've jumped a car. Small jumps on Ethan's property, but
you took an E36 convertible and jumped it until the struts went through the strut. Like it was.
I've never jumped a car well.
Okay.
Yeah. It was over and over and over again, like all night. Just how far can we go?
Yeah, so you've jumped a car.
He's jumped a car.
It was a convertible.
No, he just started jumping it. Yeah, but it wasn't a gap jump. So like it was just a
Well, I guess watching things like Nitro Cross, I assume the jumps are like one of the hardest parts, but maybe it's just the line and finding the traction.
Yeah, no, the jumps definitely aren't the hardest part. The hardest part of any driving a race car is controlling the limit of the grip. So maximizing on the power and the grip you have without losing time and sliding out too much. So it's like the most technical part about driving a rallycross car on a dirt track is basically finding the optimum between sliding and driving. The jumping bit's actually really simple. Like it is as simple as it sounds. You point the car in the right direction and be going the right speed. The car does the work because you're not on a motorbike. You're not controlling the car. Jumping a bike's different because you're controlling the weight. Mm-hmm. In a car, you're not doing anything. You move your head and it's not going to, put my arm out on the bike.
Yeah, I guess that's a good. Do you ever? I mean, I imagine you would still like hit the brakes if you want to bring the nose forward.
You still have some of the controls, and especially in the rallycross car because the ones I drive are four-wheel drive, so you actually have the benefit of spinning all four wheels. So when you hit the gas, you do feel the transfer up, and then when you you would never touch the brakes because if you touch the brakes, it would dive. You handbrake, so then it just does the rear wheels only.
Oh,
so if you want to get the car up, you can blip the throttle actually, this probably sounds quite crazy for people to hear because I guess there is obviously loads of people who have done this, but I guess not everyone has.
Right.
And so you can blip the throttle. A jump that has gone perfectly well. The way to execute it, as long as you've got everything else right, is just a static hold on the throttle. You don't lift the throttle, you don't push the throttle, you just hold the throttle. So you go up the ramp, you will probably I'm talking in American terms now, you'll gas it to make sure the front comes up. So as you get to the lip, you'll feed the gas on. So you probably, ideally, you're already full throttle because you want to be going as fast as you can around the track. But sometimes you've got to check up to get the distance right. So you check up, then at the last minute, full gas,
because you want the car to be squatted on, you want it to be transferring. You don't want it to be already decelerating and take off, because then it will just dive. So you gas it, and then you come back to like, normally it would be like half throttle. Hold it at half throttle, completely static, don't move, because then that means there is no accelerating or decelerating force on the car. So it will just go at exactly the projection that you sent it at. If, however, you get it a little bit wrong, which is normally the case, you can feed the throttle in, and that will give you a little bit of a lift. You can pull gears, which is an extreme case, but you can pull gears. So you can just full throttle, pull a couple of gears, because the more wheel speed you give it, the more it increases the angle. And then if you go too hard, and that's obviously if you've not jumped enough, so you can bring the front up. If you've gone too hard and then it's over rotating, you can just trim it. You can lift first of all. So lifting does give you that sort of movement, and then you can trim with the handbrake as well, because then not only does the lifting rotate the car, the handbrake then slows the rear wheels down, which does it even more. I've never tried touching the foot brake, only because the handbrake's pretty aggressive. So I mean, it's something I could guess film trying. But I've never gone into the air and gone, right, let's see this. I honestly think it would just go boof. I think it would.
But on a dirt bike, you do that all the time.
Yeah. But I don't know if you do both. Would you do front and rear brakes, or would you just do the rear?
Yeah, I guess
No,
you
you
never
just
do
do
the
rear.
front.
That's what I mean. So like that's what we do in a car. With the handbrake, you just do the rear, because that's the driven wheel, and that's the one that rotates. I guess you can try on a motorbike first. Go in the air and
Hit both brakes.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be great, I imagine.
Probably not.
it's definitely a video.
Yeah. Did you ever just like party with Travis back then, or like?
Absolutely.
I bet
Stories
that
are
was-
stories I'm not going to talk about. I partied with the best of them. Yeah.
Awesome.
Also, I'd say I'm friends with all of those people. Yeah, it's an awesome thing to be able to say.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because this is 2 podcasts in a row with people who've partied with Travis and Ken Block.
Really,
Yeah.
really wow.
For us too.
Yeah.
I guess there wasn't very many of us, obviously.
Right, yeah. It's a pretty like niche group. And you
Travis
were one
is
of
a
them.
wonderful time. It's a great time.
I met him for the first time this year at the Freedom 500.
Yeah.
And it was funny.
Yeah.
It was pretty wild for somebody like me who's never been even sort of a race car driver, even in the slightest, to be on the track racing against Travis Pastrana and like BJ Baldwin and like, what am I doing here?
You see, you felt like me in 2011 when I was in the Subaru.
But you had already raced professionally.
I guess.
That was the first time I've ever been in something that even approaches a race car.
And how was it?
It was awesome. Yeah, it was a great time. I passed BJ Baldwin like 3 times. So
perfect.
I mean, then I crashed. But
no one cares about that. The passing's what counts. You put the passes in.
Yeah. So if you're at Nitro Cross and you're like basically living your dream you've had since you were a kid, then with your heroes, then Nitro Cross still exists. So what happened?
Nitro Rallycross actually doesn't still exist.
Oh, it doesn't?
You saw that? No, it just got stopped like 2 weeks ago.
really?
Yeah.
Wow,
which
that's
is
such a shame.
pretty crazy.
That is crazy. I had no idea.
I don't even know if I want to talk about the deal, but it doesn't actually affect me anymore because I'm not involved. I pulled out. But yeah, unfortunately, very unfortunately, especially for the teams and the drivers, they just pulled the plug and canned it. I don't know for how long, forever maybe, I don't know, but that just happened anyway. I stopped. I feel like for the last 10, 15 minutes, I've been promoting Nitro Cross. So now I'm probably going to not promote it very well.
Well, it doesn't matter if it doesn't exist anymore, right?
Yeah, I'm still going to get a message saying, what'd you say that for? So if you hadn't already worked out, I'm pretty stupid in the car, and I love cars, and I love driving cars. And I like to sort of be able to express myself when I'm driving, even at the best of my ability, even when I was at the top of my game. I would still find myself overdriving and being flamboyant and having too much fun because that's the reason why I started driving cars in the first place, was because I loved driving cars, right? So my biggest downfall through my entire career was my ability to drive, how it looks good, because more often than not, it would slow me down.
Right.
So I would
what looks fast is usually slow.
Often.
Yeah.
But I can't help myself because that's the only way I know how. So I would find myself, losing time in corners that I knew I could go faster in, but I didn't want to because, I'm a pretty stubborn guy. And I love the cars, and I guess that's why I'm still sponsored by Monster. I've done all those things. There was things I did differently to everyone else. I've always been very different. I definitely go against the grain. Normally break all the rules. There's lots of bad things I can talk about. But Nitro Cross decided to go electric. So I retired from Nitrocross when I feel it retired what I knew was Nitrocross. They went to electric cars, and I understand why, probably mostly commercial reasons. I drive a Tesla at home. I get it. Electric cars are cool for what you need them to do. Mine drives my kids to school, and it takes me around the country wherever I want to go in beautiful style and super quiet and whatever, but that's what it does. I don't race it.
Right.
And I wouldn't race it because that's not what it's for. Yeah. And so I just don't agree at all with racing electric cars. And I don't want to be like I love motorsport. I love cars. And there's the main reason why I do it is because it's a way of expressing myself. Like I feel like, let's say I'm an actor or a comedian. My performance is when I'm driving behind the steering wheel. And so like, would you go watch a comedian that had his hand over his mouth? Like for me, it took away one of my abilities to be able to express myself, because a car in silence isn't a car to me. Like it just, they're really fast, and the driver, I'm sure, is going to have a great time, but the audience isn't getting the same experience. So I took it upon myself to pull out. Yeah, so I had a sponsorship contract. It was all underway, in place. The opportunity was there, and I'm not being like arrogant or overly confident, but I just decided I didn't want to do it anymore. So I was enjoying it, but I knew I wouldn't enjoy it when it was electric. And so, yes, the sport went electric. Nitrocross went electric. I'd already gone to Nitrocross because World Rallycross went electric. So I'd already left my previous sort of sport because they went electric. And so then the very year later, or it might even been the same year, they did the same thing. So I was like, well, I guess both opportunities for me have closed. The door's closed, and I just thought at the time, I'm sure another door will open. I don't know what that door's going to be at the moment, but I'm choosing to close this door because I feel like I wouldn't be true to myself if I did the conversion to drive electric cars, because I just don't. I mean, I wouldn't fit in one, you know. Like I've got a stupid haircut, I sound like I'm loud and whatever. Like I'm not going to be the run of the mill, you know, get in line with everyone else. I just never have got in line, so why would I do it now? So that's why I stopped Nitrocross.
Yeah, makes sense.
Is there a home for cars like that professionally now, or was that
those cars? You mean the electric cars?
No, not the electric cars, like the gas cars.
No, that's the frustration.
So
not
isn't
really
a professional.
Not professional. Again, sorry to the guys who aren't going to want me to say this, but the reason why I didn't carry on racing combustion cars is because I felt the level wasn't good enough. I'm not an arrogant person, even if I come across as one, but I felt like I was too good to go back to race that car. So you can still race them, but it's at a lower level. And I just felt like that would be a reverse step in my career. So I was going to go back to a level that I'd progressed from. I didn't want to go back to that level.
Like if you're not learning, you're dying kind of a thing.
Yeah, like going backwards, not.
Why would you deliberately go backwards in your career? So I didn't.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Simple as that. I mean, I don't know how else I can explain it, really. Like, yeah, you can drive them. Yeah, the cars are still awesome. I still think they're one of the coolest vehicles in the world. A rallycross car to me is the ultimate in all areas of what makes a car a car. A rallycross is the ultimate. It's like it's a world rally car, which is a really cool car, but only with double the horsepower.
Yeah,
I mean, what's not cool about that? You know?
I was just going to ask, what for the nerdier of our audience, what are the differences between a world rallycross or a world rally championship and a world rallycross car? Like, what's the?
So essentially, not much apart from the turbo size and the engine size. So the world rally car, I think nowadays is 1600 cc and turbocharged, and a world rallycross car is 2 litre, just 2000 cc with a much bigger turbocharger.
Gotcha.
Double the horsepower. World Rally Cars 330, 350 maybe horsepower, and we're 650 horsepower. Yeah, so cool. Double the horsepower.
So but the suspension and all that's pretty similar.
Most of the good cars now are WRC cars with a bigger motor.
They just swap out the engine.
And it's the really expensive way of doing it, but at the top of the game, at the top of the sport, you need that level of car.
Right.
So yeah, the World Rally car is basically the benchmark, and everything else, brakes, suspension, chassis design, everything.
Right.
We just want a bigger engine. So you just put a bigger engine in.
And is it just because the rules allow for that, or it's actually practical to have less power?
The rules in World Rally, they only allow for that, for safety.
Yeah, right, because otherwise
Group B was for a while, and then they decided that was suicide, and then they're like, maybe we shouldn't do that anymore.
Yep, absolutely. So we essentially drive modern day Group B cars. Like the Rallycross cars are like modern day Group B cars, and Group B was cancelled, which is Group B is an old category of car that used to race rally a long time ago. They got banned because they were too powerful, thus too fast, and were killing people, which is just obviously a horrible thing, but that's what's happening. Yeah. So rally is limited on power because of the inherent danger of racing through a bunch of trees.
At
Yeah.
180, 180 miles an hour or whatever.
On a track
Close
without
course.
trees, you can have the power without maybe
danger.
dying.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we still could if we wanted to.
And there's not the and you don't have like 3 mile straights. You just have like a super tight. Yeah.
Yeah, we're limited very much on how fast we can go because the course is only the size it is.
Corners, yeah,
and
right.
we have tyre walls and Armco barriers and whatever. So if you go off, gravel traps, whatever you want to, you've got all the safety precautions that you have.
Right.
So of course, the cars can be safe a lot faster and still be safe. Essentially,
Makes a lot of sense.
That's the difference. I've actually never done rallying. I said at the start about I've only ever done rallycross. Because I got into it because of my dad and I wanted to be like him and I wanted to actually be better than him.
And were you?
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't watch this now. I hope there's a lot of people. I don't want anyone to watch this. Yeah, I did better than him. Yeah.
Nice.
So.
Well,
but he was very good.
Yeah.
He was very good. I think I would probably say, I did better.
Well, I mean, I'm sure he's proud of that. Like, No,
Don't
he's also competitive.
Don't know if he's ever told me that.
Well,
so,
he probably wouldn't tell you, but
I know.
I'm sure he is.
I know he is.
Yeah.
No, I know he is. Yeah. Absolutely, he is.
Racing drivers are too competitive to admit anything.
Right.
Yeah, and he still races now as well. Actually,
Oh,
so he's
cool.
still racing.
Oh,
now.
awesome.
He just raced last weekend and came second in the British Championship overall, which was quite good.
Wow.
So he still races today. Has fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I'm not racing. He's outlived.
There you go.
He's outran my career.
I think that's one of the cool things about motorsports is that, well, not all of them, but four-wheeled motorsports is that there isn't such a hard age limit on it. Like motocross.
Yeah.
Nobody's racing motocross old or any other sports, football, any of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But off-road racing, on-road racing, like you can race into your 60s, 70s. Like, you don't have to be young. Being young helps.
I think it's because of it doesn't require the physical ability.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And I mean, of course, the fitter you are, the stronger you are, the better you are, but you can get away with it almost. Whereas on a dirt bike, you just can't.
Yeah. Well, and also, you can trade that fitness for experience.
There's other things that are as important, if not more. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
And throughout your career, even if you're young on a dirt bike, you can get injured and break your legs and not be able to continue.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas, I mean, you have to try kind of hard to break a bone, a serious bone in a rally car.
Yeah, lots of those guys that I mentioned that I raced against in X Games, they were all previously
they're retired.
They're famous
motocross.
for doing something else.
Yeah.
And Travis is saying with age comes a cage. Like that's as you get older, you got to put a cage around yourself because you need that sort of extra safety. And that's his saying. That's what he says. And I think that's ultimately, that's I wouldn't say it's like a place where cool people retire to, but it is.
Yeah, right,
it really is,
right.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Luckily, I didn't retire to it. I started in it, but I guess that was my benefit that most of the other guys transferred across to it, and I was able to be lucky enough to start in it. So.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's easier to learn things when you're younger. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I struggle these days. But I'm getting a bit older now.
Yeah. So how do you transition from these cars are going electric, it's not for me, what do I want to do with my career, to wheelie drifting Mini Coopers at SEMA?
Absolutely. Which is, as a pinch myself moment, it's very cool to be here doing this. So,
it's very cool, but it's it's a question of
it's a strange transition.
Yeah. It's a hard left turn.
Yeah, it's definitely, if anything, it's a flipper and go the other way.
180,
for sure. I actually feel like I was pushed into it a little bit. Now, I'm not going to say that like it isn't a misfortunate thing. Like oh no, poor guy, got pushed to make videos. But Monster, my sponsor, basically said they were very, very kind to stick with me after I decided to stop racing. And just they said, Liam, you hold value to us regardless, and we know you're going to come up with something. So we'll just
that's awesome.
We'll stick you out for a little bit and see where this goes. And I was like, right now, guys, I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. I might transfer to race something else. I don't know. And they'd been on my case for about 12 or 13 years since the very first time they sponsored me to get better with my media and my content, because I was that guy, which is very frustrating for me now looking back, but I've always been that guy that hated the camera. Here I am, sat on a podcast, hated the camera. Like honestly, I am a racing driver. Put that camera away. It doesn't help me. It doesn't benefit me. I race cars I race cars to win trophies. The audience want to see it. They can come watch if they want. That's it. I'm not doing an interview. I'm not posting on Instagram. I didn't have Instagram until very late in the day. I had Facebook because I had friends that were to talk to, and that's it. I didn't post on it. So they were like, yeah, but Liam, we pay you to race cars. Like, you've got to show everyone that. I'm like, yeah, I do. I race cars. Tell them to come watch. If they want to see it, come watch. They're like, no, Liam. No, you don't get it. Like, we pay you to race cars to promote us. So you got to promote us. I do. I race the car. Come watch it. So I was always that guy, honestly. And you probably think I'm joking, but like, if any of those guys from Monster are watching, they're like, shh, we've been telling him for 13 years. So they went, right, we think now more than ever, because you're actually sponsored to be a racing driver and you're not a racing driver, now you should probably do what we say, right? Because you're going to, otherwise it's going to be the end of the day. So I was like, all right, go on. What do you want me to do? They were like, why didn't you start filming stuff? And I was like, oh, I knew you were going to say this. What? They were like, well, we're your sponsor, not your boss. So you come up with the ideas and let us know what you want to do. And it goes from there. So I went, okay. So I went away. I don't want to like hang up my race helmet sort of thing. I'm thinking that if I do, I won't ever start again. So if I do legitimately close all the doors, I won't be coming back at it. So I decided that maybe, just maybe, if I did get the camera out, it might enable me to keep racing, because racing is getting harder and harder to secure sponsorship, because actual racing cars is getting lesser and lesser value because of online content.
Because of us, basically.
Because of people like, absolutely. Absolutely. So if you can't beat them, join them, right? So I was like, okay, well, maybe, just maybe, I could do what they're asking me to do, but only because the end goal is it will allow me to keep racing what I want to race, right? So I always raced rallycross because that's the sport I did and that's what they pay me to do. Whenever I said, hey, I want to go do a drag race, they were like, nah, you're a rallycross driver. We're not paying you to go do that. I'm like, come on, guys. I want to go race short course off-road, or I want to go do a hill climb. Liam, you race rallycross. Go race rallycross, please. Stop breaking the rules. Just do as you're told. Not that naughty school kid. And then this opportunity came up, and I was like, right, but I guess I could go race cars and make videos. They're like, yeah, well, you're a racing driver, go race cars and make videos. All right. Well, does it matter what? They're like, well, no, we sponsored you to race rallycross. Now I guess do whatever you want. I was like, cha-ching. This is the opportunity that I've always needed, because now I can go race all those sports I've always been pushing them to let me do, which I couldn't. I'm like, now I'm my own boss, I guess. All I got to do is make a video people want to watch. And so it's transition. So I made that decision that I'm going to jump on the bandwagon and make videos. It's a big risk. I've put a lot of time and money into the investment of starting. I'm like a year, I don't know how, maybe I'm like probably 18 months into it now. And that's where I'm at. So it was them that pushed me to doing it. I then said, right, okay, I haven't got it all covered. I've not got all the bases covered. I'm taking a risk doing it still. Looks like a lot of fun. For me, the only downside is I've got to bring the camera along with me. I can go do what I've always wanted to do. Only now I've got to bring the audience along with me to see what I'm doing. And that's how it will get funded.
Right.
So I was like, it's not such a bad deal. Such a tough life. It's all right, cool. So that is ultimately what I've decided to do. So now I'm about 18 months in, like I said, from quitting my other job and just going to making videos. And so to bring it right up to the modern day, that's why you saw me today doing whatever you want to call them, spinner wheelies or wheelie donuts or wheelie drifts or whatever you want to call them in a minute at SEMA, because I wrote out like a projection, like a business plan of what I wanted to do, what content I was going to make. And I've got 7, my base projects are 7 different vehicles. And I had to start somewhere. So I chose the cheapest one.
Yeah.
So I had 7 projects that I planned out that I want to do, 7 different sports. So 7 different races, 7 different sports. And so, just chose the cheapest one. The cheapest one happens to be the Mini. So I bought it / built it. Accidentally did a trick by complete accident that everyone was like, well, that's crazy. And here I am in SEMA doing it in real life for everyone to see.
Yeah. So what about the type of racing that car is built for? I've honestly only ever seen any of it because of your videos, basically.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's not a sport that I don't think anyone knows about in this country.
And do other cars in the sport have two Hayabusa motors
Yeah,
in it?
it's common. It's a common sort of platform in that class, in that sport. Crazy, right? Yeah.
How is that
This
not
is
more
not a
popular?
one-of-one.
It's the most awesome thing.
Right. Well, so let's go back to the selection process, right? So then I said, right, I want to go race everything I've always wanted to race, but I haven't been able to because I love cars, I love motorsport, I love driving fast, I love doing stupid stuff. So now I'm going to choose all of those things, and I'm just going to decide which one I do first, right? So it's a class called it's a sport called autograss. In the UK only, it's very grassroots, but very awesome.
Appropriate name, autograss, grassroots.
Grassroots autograss. Its nickname is grass track. It's not called grass track because in England we have bikes that race around in a circle as well, and that's called grass track. But essentially, it's four-wheel grass track. It's in a field, sometimes just on grass. They literally peg out a track, and then they start racing on it, and that's it. And it cuts into dirt, obviously, eventually. But yeah, it's called autograss because the start of the day, it's going to be grass on the track. It's an oval sport, like your dirt track here is. Only they go the wrong way, obviously. We go round, we go clockwise,
right?
The right way, but the wrong way you're going to think. So they go right. So
right.
I'm not saying
Right
the right way, but they turn right.
Yeah.
And yes, and that's it. And so there's multiple classes. My car is a class 7. Class 7 is a car with a body on it because you can have specials which are buggies, so there's no body, just wheels and motor and stuff, and a load of tubes. But they're called super saloons. So class 7 super saloons. You have to have a body on it, and it has to be rear-wheel drive. I think that's the only rule, literally. So that you can imagine now, like why there's some crazy engine packages because there is no rules. Put in it whatever you want. So believe it or not, the bike engine package is actually a very cheap, economical way of putting power in a car because when you think about it, motorbikes are like designed really, they're packaged way more intelligently than a car because they have so little space to get it all into. Yep. So you can literally buy a power plant from a bike, and obviously you'll know this because of what you built. So
yeah, it's exactly what I do. Yeah.
I'm talking to the audience here now, guys.
100%.
Right?
Yes,
You're like,
yes.
Thank you for telling me the obvious.
No, I'm like, thank you for telling them exactly what I.
Yeah, sorry, I just had to clarify that. I felt like, why am I saying this? And then I've remembered there's a camera. Hi guys. So. Yeah, it's all right there, you know, and all I didn't want is the chain. So basically, you take that package and you put it in a car, but a car's much bigger than a bike. So what do you do then? Just put two of them in. So that's why it's not for anything crazy. Actually, it's just because it's because it's a grassroots sport, and most of the guys are paying from their own pocket. Well, go as fast as possible for as least money as possible, right? That's the formula of motorsport, really.
Yeah.
So yeah. I guess they started putting bike engines in them because they're a great way to package in a little buggy. And then they want to go faster, so they just put two in them. So this was all before my time.
Right.
The reason why, but I go back to the story of like why I'm here is because I always wanted to race grass track, not because it was going to be valuable to me, not because my sponsors wanted me to, but because it's awesome. And I was like, those cars, not so much the sport, but the cars are awesome. When I'm very happy to have now showcased it to the world because I think everyone agrees.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
cars are awesome.
So if it's just around a field, basically a flat oval, why did they end up with so much suspension?
Yeah.
Because I've seen that jump. Is yours a lot more than...
Yeah, no, actually it's not. I've only got more front. The rear travel is basically how it would be. I've just increased the front travel because of all the wheeling and stuff I do. I want to have that extra landing capacity, let's say. Mm-hmm. Because the tracks get rough.
Right.
The tracks get rough. Yeah, like some of they don't have jumps, but they get rutted, like really rutted. And so you're throwing the car in, and it needs the suspension travel because it's off-road racing. It's they're a graded track, but they don't really grade. So you get events that is really bumpy. Like, I'm talking about this sport like I know about it. As I said, I had a plan to buy a car and go race it. Because of, not unfortunately, but because of the internet, I've only raced twice. So I'm not even going to try and tell you I know about the sport because I actually don't know anything about the sport.
I know what I've seen.
I didn't do very well. I just kept spinning, actually. So I guess everyone was like, hey, it's the spin guy. He just spins when he races. He spins when he does demos. He spins in his videos. I actually got called Spinderella. That's actually what I got nicknamed at the sport. So no, it didn't go very well at all. I'm going to give myself a little bit of credit in that it's very different to what I'm used to. And it was a very awkward track to start my career of grass track racing. I know I can do a lot better. I'm way more capable than what I did. But hey, they all got a laugh out of it. This big famous professional guy came into our sport and he looks like an idiot.
So before we get too far away, how much travel do the cars have suspension wise?
I don't know.
You don't even know how much your car has?
I think it's probably about 12 inches, I'm going to say.
Isn't your builder sitting over there not in the podcast? How much travel does it have?
He doesn't know. I bet he doesn't know. No.
You don't know either. You built a car.
Yeah, 12 inches.
Okay, cool.
12 inches. Yeah. I think so. Which,
all right, we'll go
which
with
on
that.
a little car.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so you think scalability, like it's tiny.
Absolutely. Yeah,
so 12 inches on a little car is a lot.
Yeah. I mean, the tiny cars I build, like they have 10, 12 inches,
Yeah,
and they're
exactly.
half the size of yours still. So it's like,
oh yeah, wow, yeah, so
scale trophy truck travel, you know?
Yeah, you're like trophy truck ratio. Yeah.
Well, and you know the whoops that trophy trucks do. I can do those same whoops in a car that's a quarter the size.
But the whoop's much bigger for you.
Yeah, it's bigger than me, and I can still do
much
it. So.
Bigger. Yeah. So they don't have massive travel, but they have enough.
That's still a lot.
Absolutely,
I mean,
So the car is from that sport.
Mm-hmm.
I bought the car, didn't build the car. I've now since built the cars, but the very first one I bought into, I've changed a lot on it now. So it wouldn't be allowed to race. It wouldn't qualify. It's too different to what you need to do. Probably wouldn't be very fast either because I've changed so much stuff. It's become a stunt car rather than a race car. But essentially, that's what happened. Yeah, I wanted to go race that sport because it was the first on the list of things I wanted to race. 10. 10. Okay, so
Well,
we'll go with 12.
It sounds better.
We're in America. So I wanted to go race it. And so that was like I said, I chose the first sport, or all of my packages are all sports and cars. So I've got to build the car, go race the sport, right? And then document whether I'm going to win or lose or come last or crash or whatever. So I chose the cheapest sport / car, which was autograss racing in a Class 7 Mini. So that's where it came from. I did not buy it or build it to make videos. I did, sorry. I was going to make the videos about me racing it.
Right.
But now the videos aren't about me racing it.
They're about you doing donut wheelies.
Superheroes, the Superman, super wheelie guy, like whatever. The wheelie guy with a cape on, like, oh, yeah. But that's where we're at. That's what's happened. So the reason why that happened, though, was because, I don't know if anyone knows this, but I'm from the UK. And the weather sucks in the winter. Like, I don't know, you guys are up north as well, so you might get it a little bit as well.
Yeah,
right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So the weather absolutely sucks right now. Like, it's the winter and you're not driving a car in a field. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
The difference is we get a lot of snow instead of just cold rain. Right. So we have different sports.
You have a great, exactly. You transition to something else.
Exactly.
We have to just pack up shop and wait for the sun to come out, right? So I would love to get snow because it would open up so many more opportunities. Like, plus you stay when it freezes, you stay kind of dry. The problem with England is it's just mild, so it just gets wet and cold. And when you get wet, you get really cold. So and muddy and. Come to England, it's great. So I couldn't drive it anywhere, right? So I've got this car, I've got this plan. Like, this is now, I think, like, I don't know, probably a year ago. Yeah, pretty much a year ago now. Got this car, got this plan of go racing it. Oh no, what happens now? There's no races for like 4 months. What are we going to do now? I've got the car, I'm ready to go. There's no races. I didn't even know this. I literally hadn't even looked at the schedule. I was like, let's go. What do we need first? The car. Let's get the car. Right, we've got the car. Where's the race? Oh. I looked for somewhere to drive it indoors because I thought, where can I drive it that's not wet? Well, go indoors, right? So I went to an event indoors and like I was just off my own back. They wanted cars to do like cool stuff, and I was like, I think I can do cool stuff with my car. I actually only want to come because I want to use your indoor facility so I can drive my car, and that's it. That was the very first video I put on Instagram of the car, and it went viral, like some 22 million views, I think. So that was that's why we are here today. Was because I put. So
it was the first one, just right off the
bat. We went and drove it inside, did a wheelie, did a drift, did a wheelie. Didn't do a wheelie drift at the same time. It just sort of drifted around the corner, straightened up, and then the power just took it to wheelie. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? Like, I haven't even driven. No, this is the first time I've driven the car. Like, whoa, it just
That's
wheelie.
awesome.
I mean, I knew they did. That's why I wanted to get into it, but I had never done it. So I was like, whoa, that feels crazy. Let's do it again. Yeah. So that's it. So I put the video on Instagram, and then I guess the rest is history. Like, once I did that, it was never going to stop. It was like it's the content train had begun, right? Mm-hmm. So then the demand grew, and everyone wanted to see it. People wanted more videos. People wanted to see it live in action. So that car actually, believe it or not. So there's a bit of a story to how many there is. That one has never raced. I bought it. I then did that video. Then was like, right, now what? Because it's still raining outside. Made one video, that's cool. Still can't race it. What are we going to do? Now, I've got a connection to California because my wife's Californian and my kids were born there. So I'm here a lot of the time anyway. Regardless of my job, I'm here anyway for it. And we wanted to come. And I was like, well, let's take the Mini with us. What? So I was like, yeah, let's go to America. The sun's always shining. It's California. There's a lot of bad things about California, but the sun's always shining. So why not just send a car to America? Because we can drive it in America. I think the Americans will love it. And the rest really was history then. So that car actually, which was a very good race car, I bought like one of the really good ones, has never seen a track and will never see a track again.
So is it
until there's an American autograss
series,
class,
yep, which is inevitably going to happen, I expect.
I mean,
now
it seems very likely. Yeah,
absolutely, it does. So
are these cars built by a builder or someone who was going to race it and then decided not to and sold it to you? Or
no, it was a used car. It was an ex-race car. I'd won the national championship, so it was a very good car. My first car I bought from a racer who was setting up to build a new car, and I bought his old car. So just like I say, I've never said like, hey, I built this custom car, but I've also never said I didn't, because we've done enough of changes to it now that it's a bespoke version, but it's based around an autograss car.
So without giving away your secrets, what is different with your car? I mean, you mentioned more travel in the front, but like
mainly, a couple of like performance things like suspension travel and stuff, but mainly reliability things.
Oh, okay.
Just because I'm a savage,
yeah,
and I broke it every time I drove
yeah,
it.
right.
So we've had to change things to make it. So we dry sump it, things like dry sump, just to make sure the oil system lubricates the car when it's upside down. Because it's not. I mean, street bikes wheelie obviously, but so,
but they don't wheelie with sideways G forces as well.
Don't, exactly. So I'm
all their forces are in one direction.
Exactly.
No matter which it is. It's
so the engine's like this, and I'm going like that, and then like that.
Yeah.
And so like it didn't like it. So we blew a few motors up. So things like that. There's loads of things we've changed. Okay. There's almost nothing we haven't changed a little bit.
Just tweaked it, yeah.
But it's all been tweaked a little bit,
Yeah, well, with under 10 minutes left, we just had dinner, and you talked about how you're going to do Pikes Peak this coming year.
That's the plan.
And I would like to talk about the car that you are intending to build to do that race.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So, so then we're back to my 7 projects, right? So,
which would be number 2, right? I mean, it's chronological even.
Is Pikes Peak the car the second cheapest?
No.
I was going to say.
We've lost the plan now. we're way off schedule at this point. The plan was, let's do it in like financial sense order. Let's choose the most expensive car there is.
Right.
So I actually don't think it will be number 2. I've got some other stuff planned before that. So I think it'll probably be actually like number 4 or 5. Got a lot to do in a little time.
Yeah.
Let's say 2026 maybe. Pikes Peak. But the plan is to try to get to Pikes Peak in 2025. I've got at home 2 RS200s, 2 Ford RS200 Group B cars. So we mentioned Group B cars earlier. Mm-hmm. My dad raced them when he was professionally driving, and we've never got rid of them. So they're at home. They're his cars, I guess. I drive them. And so one of them is a hill climber specific car. So it's like, it's an original, like proper, legit Ford RS200 Group E car, but it's got a ton of modifications to make it like
so cool.
asphalt spec. Because obviously they're a rally car. So they did tarmac spec, but they were, when a tarmac rally car really isn't a circuit tarmac car, it's a tarmac, to race in the woods on tarmac or whatever. So it's been changed to be like circuit tarmac spec. So it's very low, massive wings and spoilers and huge 13-inch wide tyres. But for me, I mean, it's a wild car. It's already built, which is great. So this is stuff that I've actually got around me, luckily, very fortunately, I've already got around me that the viewers have never really seen. So I'm going to, one of my projects coming up is going to be Ford RS200 Pikes Peak Hill Climb. For me, the world's ultimate race in the world's ultimate car with the world's not ultimate driver.
and the world's ultimate consequences for failure.
Hence the ultimate race, because it's got the ultimate consequence. Yeah. So I think it's a great package to put on the internet to show people. All of my projects are all lined up around really cool sports I've always wanted to do. Hill climbing is one of them. Pikes Peak is one of them. This car actually raced in 2012 and 2013 at Pikes Peak with my dad driving, because I was sponsored by Monster to go race the event. But both times I had schedule changes, which were X Games, which was my most important event of the year. And so they clashed. So I couldn't go. So my dad got the very lucky, let's say, opportunity to sit in the seat and drive it for me. So I got the money, he got all the fun. So he went and raced it, crashed both times.
No.
So there's a bit of a backstory behind that car doing that event. So that will make it even more interesting. So it's not just like a one-off. It's like I'm almost going back 10 years later to do what I set out to do 10 years ago. Now I've got the opportunity to do these things because I'm not, on a stuck challenge. So it's an amazing car. It's 950 horsepower. It's 1,000 kilos. So it's basically a 1-to-1 power ratio. It runs 13-inch wide slicks on the back. It's got spoilers bigger than the roof, and it's a legit Group B car. So I think it's going to be a good hit for people at home watching.
I'll be watching.
Yeah. When you crash something like that, where
no, you can't say
okay.
that.
Well, when your dad
when
I'm
your dad
joking.
we're talking about the past,
like
not the future.
I'm joking.
You're not going to crash it. I have faith on you, and I think this is real wood. But anyways, when your dad crashes a car like that, where do you get these like parts? Is like everything bespoke? You just have to.
Yeah,
okay.
it's like
I figured
it's like
it's irreplaceable.
Unicorn horn, basically. Yeah. We were actually very lucky. I know almost everyone that has parts. Just because of the cars, we've had the cars since they were very first built. So I've grown up around them. So I was it's actually older than me. They're the same age. Yeah, I'm 1987. It's exactly the same age as me. So obviously the car was around before I remember. So because of that, we know everyone who's got one and all the parts. And if I need something, I can probably find it. But yeah, it's not an easy task. Just don't crash.
That's what I was thinking when you started talking about the car and how you were going to race it. I wasn't going to say anything. I was like, oh my God, what if he crashes it? But then you said your dad did crash it. And I was like, well, how is any part of that car replaceable?
Yeah, actually, luckily didn't break anything like that. It was just body damage. The bodies are carbon fiber and we reproduced them now. They're not original. There's a lot of the parts on the car that aren't original because it's so highly modified from original. We've there's actually almost no original parts left on the car. It's exactly how it was designed to be, but we've just repeated everything in billet because back then everything was cast aluminum and magnesium with age gets brittle and it fails. So we had no choice but to basically reproduce every part for the car in billet aluminum so that it's stronger and lighter anyway. So so now actually it is an original car, but with all re-engineered parts. So yeah, you can crash it and fix it, I guess.
Wow. So if that one's not number 2, what is the second?
So number two is actually going to be number 1.5. So obviously the Mini was project number 1, right? So there's going to be another one. So I'm going to call it, let's say 1B or something, or whatever. So it's not. So the next project is going to be a repeat or an evolution of project 1. So we're staying with 1 for a while yet. Yeah. We're not moving on yet.
Yeah. So what I meant by that was like, what's the next motorsport that you're going to try to do?
The next one after that is. I actually don't even know the answer to that question.
All right, fair enough.
I need to give you an answer though, so let me come up with one.
We'll hold you to it for sure.
I think, to give you a bit of I've got no secrets. I want people to know what I'm doing so that they want to come follow my journey. So drifting is one of them, like top level drifting. I want to do like drift masters or Formula Drift or something like that because I can do drifting. Obviously, I can do wheelies and drift and stuff. So I'm not going to say I'm going to be very good at it, but I can definitely have a go at it. So drifting, hill climbing, short course off-road, which is like the trucks that jump around like motocross tracks. So short course off-road. So like the Baja, sort of like long distance off-road. Time attack, autograss. What didn't I say yet? Rallycross. Don't know if I talked about that yet, did I? I might have a stab at Rallycross. Yeah. Rally is not on my list because, like I said, it's dangerous. Did I say that? No, I said I don't think I ever got to that point, but I never raced rally because I think I wouldn't be here today if I did. I'm not wired correctly for doing this.
Well, along with that, at dinner we were talking about how that's why neither of us own sport bikes because that's the only self-control we have is to not buy the bike in the first place. Which is probably one of the
best sayings I've ever heard, and I'm going to use that a lot because
feel free. Yeah,
I have zero self-control, but I must have some. Otherwise, I would have bought a sports bike and I would probably be here today. So, absolutely, that's a great term and a way to explain it. So they're all the sports: hill climbing, drifting, rallycross, hill climbing, short course off road, long distance off road. Can you think of any others? Yeah, Gymkhana. Gymkhana, so like Ken's legacy stuff. Yep. Gymkhana, both videos and the sport. There's a sport called Gymkhana Grid, which is where you actually compete doing Gymkhana, which you slide around the car park going around things. Such a bit of Gymkhana as well, because I think that might be coming back from from not running. It might start back up. So yeah, there's plenty of sports I've got planned. The very good thing about that is all of them are so vastly different. The cars are all going to be so vastly different. So I really want to build like the dream garage.
That's
the dream of race cars. So
that is the dream.
A huge off-road truck with 1,000 horsepower and all-wheel drive. And then I want a trophy truck, and then I want a crazy 1,000 horsepower drift car and a RS200 that does hill climbing.
I mean, who doesn't? That sounds like my dream.
Absolutely.
I don't care about a Lamborghini or a Ferrari,
no,
but
I have no
all of
interest.
those,
honestly,
but those race cars,
I
want all of them.
Absolutely. So instead of messing around with really expensive cars that that look good on the street, I have no interest. Honestly, I don't. I want the rawest of race cars, and I want to have all of them. I just love motorsport. I love race cars, and so I want to hopefully, if it all goes to plan, build up this collection of these cars and keep them so I can just go and race. And my plan is to basically each year go and race every single one of them once and once only. No practice, no, like just nothing. Like really put myself to the test and just turn up and race and just document the whole story and see how badly I suck.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I love it. It sounds really entertaining for sure. And I guess
I taught.
Yeah. You did for a whole hour. So where can people watch your journey doing this?
So all my links are going to be just Liam Doran or Liam Doran 33. So I'm Liam Doran on Instagram. I'm Liam Doran 33 on YouTube, and the rest are Facebook, TikTok, all those stuff. So all of those channels, I'm on all of them. I try to post and keep consistent as much as possible. I'm only like 4 months into the YouTube journey, but it seems like it's working enough at the moment. Instagram, yeah.
Well, bring the Mini with the 2 Hayabusas in it to Idaho.
Absolutely.
In the winter.
We'll do some really stupid stuff.
An absolute party.
Absolutely.
That's what we'll leave the people on there.
You have a really crazy bike, and I have a really crazy car. So
we'll make it happen.
100%.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we ran into you today. This has been awesome.
No, wonderful. I got that shock Instagram message, and I was like, no way. You can message me. Thank you very much.
Out. Yeah.
I really appreciate it, and I look forward to coming and having a party.
Awesome.
Let's plan it up soon.
Awesome.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that's the Set and Bent podcast. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts, and subscribe for the next one.